Commander Vexstar stared at the red warning on his ship's screen. The words glowed like blood against the black space around them. Dead zone, do not enter radiation, danger extinct species day, HFY his 6 arms. Moved across the control panels of the research ship Cosmic Harmony. Behind him, 12 different alien species worked together. They had come from across the galaxy for one mission. Today they would finally see what was left of the humans. "Sir," said his science officer, a blue-skinned Kelteron with large black eyes. "We are at the edge of the human system. All scans show the same thing our records say. Dead space. Nothing alive." Vexstar nodded. Everyone knew the story. 300 years ago, humans had destroyed themselves. They were violent. They fought wars. They built nuclear weapons and used them on their own planet. The galaxy had tried to help them, but humans were too dangerous, too angry, too stupid to accept peace, so the galaxy left them alone to die. "Begin deep scans," Vexstar ordered. "I want to know everything. What buildings are left? What cities survived? We need to make a full report." The ship moved closer to the human system. It had 9 planets around a yellow star they called Sol. The 3rd planet was Earth, where humans came from. According to old records, it should be a burned wasteland now. But something was wrong. "Commander," the science officer's voice shook. "The readings, ... they don't match our records." "What do you mean?" "There are energy signals, big ones, coming from the 3rd planet and from everywhere in this system." Vexstar moved to look at the screen. Numbers and charts filled it. Energy readings that made no sense, heat signatures, power sources, and something else that made his blood cold. "Those are ship signatures," he whispered. "Impossible," said Dr. Yeren, a tall gray alien with 4 eyes. "Humans died out centuries ago. Our records are clear, but the screens didn't lie." Something was moving in the dark space around them. Things. Fast things. Things that should not exist. "Send a probe," Vexstar ordered. "I want to see what's really there." They watched as a small metal ball shot out from their ship. It moved fast toward the human system, sending back pictures and data. For 10 minutes, everything looked normal. Empty space. Distant planets. Nothing dangerous. Then the probe just stopped sending signals. "What happened?" Vexstar asked. "It's gone, sir. No explosion. No damage readings. It just disappeared." The bridge became very quiet. 12 different species. All smart. All experienced. All suddenly very afraid. "Send another probe," Vexstar said. The second probe lasted only 5 minutes before it also vanished. "Sir," said the communications officer, a green-skinned Vex with silver eyes. "We're getting a signal? From where? From inside the human system?" Every alien on the bridge turned to look at the communications station. The officer's hands shook as he worked with the controls. It's a voice, sir, speaking in Galactic Standard." "That was impossible." Humans never learned Galactic Standard. They were cut off before the language was created. Vexstar felt ice in his stomach. "Put it on speakers." Static filled the air. Then a voice, clear and cold, spoke words that changed everything. "Vessels, you have entered sovereign human territory. You have 30 seconds to reverse course, or you will be escorted out." The bridge went silent. Sovereign human territory. Humans who could speak Galactic Standard? Humans who were alive? "This is Commander Vexstar of the Galactic Hegemony research ship Cosmic Harmony," he said into his communicator. "We believed this system was uninhabited. We mean no harm. We're here for peaceful research only." The response came quickly. "Commander Vexstar, we know who you are. We know why you came. You have 20 seconds to leave." Dr. Yeren stepped forward. "Please, we represent 12 peaceful species. You only want to learn. We thought humans were extinct. We're amazed and happy to find you alive." A different voice answered this time, female, colder than the first. "Happy." The word dripped with something dark. "You abandoned us to die. You watched us burn and did nothing. You marked our space as a graveyard and forgot we ever existed. And now you're happy?" Vexstar's 4 hearts began beating faster. This voice knew history. Real history. History that was not in the public records. "I am Admiral Heron of the Terran Defense Fleet. the voice continued. You have 10 seconds to turn around and leave. This is your final warning. I don't understand, Vexstar said. The records show lies. Admiral Haren's voice cut through his words like a blade. Time's up. Suddenly the cosmic harmony shook, not from weapons, something else. The ship's engines stopped working. The lights flickered. Every system began shutting down one by one. What's happening? Dr. Yaren screamed. On the main screen, shapes began to appear. Ships, dozens of them. They looked like nothing in any galactic database. Sleek, deadly, beautiful, and terrible at the same time. The largest ship moved close to the cosmic harmony. It was 5 times bigger than their research vessel. Its hull was black metal that seemed to eat light. Strange symbols glowed along its sides. Your ship is now under our control, Admiral Haren said. We have disabled your weapons, engines, and communications. You wanted to learn about humans? Congratulations. You're about to get a very thorough education. A beam of light shot from the human ship. When it touched the cosmic harmony, everything changed. The alien ship began moving, pulled toward the human fleet like a leaf in a storm. Where are you taking us? Vexstar asked. But he already knew he wouldn't like the answer. Home, Admiral Haren replied. You wanted to see what happened to humanity. We're going to show you all of it, as the cosmic harmony was pulled deeper into human space. Vexstar saw more ships appear. Hundreds, thousands. A fleet so large it could conquer entire star systems. But these weren't the primitive humans from the old records. These ships moved with perfect coordination. Their technology was beyond anything the galaxy possessed. When somewhere in the dark between the stars, Vexstar realized the most terrifying truth of all. Humanity hadn't died. They had evolved, and they had been waiting. The cosmic harmony moved through space like a helpless child being dragged by giants. Round them, human ships glided in perfect formation. Their black hulls reflected no light, making them look like holes cut out of space itself. Commander Vexstar watched his crew work frantically at their stations. Nothing responded. The humans had taken control of everything. Even the air recycling systems obeyed human commands now. Sir? The communications officer called out. We're sending a visual signal. Put it on the main screen. The screen flickered and changed. Suddenly, they were looking at the bridge of a human ship. But what they saw made every alien on the bridge step back in shock. The humans looked wrong. Admiral Haren stood in the center of the bridge. But she was not the primitive human from old records. Her eyes glowed with a soft blue light. Her skin had a metallic shine in places. Scars crossed her face, but they seemed to be made of silver rather than healed flesh. Behind her, the bridge crew moved with strange grace. One officer had 4 arms instead of 2. Another had eyes on the sides of his head as well as the front. A third seemed to be more machine than flesh, with metal plates covering half his body, but his human face smiled with warmth. Welcome aboard the Eternal Flame, Admiral Haren said. Her voice carried no accent, but it had a quality that made it sound like music and thunder at the same time. You wanted to study dead humans? Instead, you found evolved ones, Dr. Yaren. The gray alien scientist stepped forward with shaking legs. What? What happened to you? Haren's smile was cold as space ice. We grew up. She gestured to her crew. Meet Captain Kwan, my weapons officer. The man with 4 arms nodded. His extra limbs moved independently, working controls that no normal human could operate, and Navigator Jinha. The woman with side-facing eyes turned to look at them. Her enhanced vision could see in all directions at once. You're not human anymore, whispered the blue-skinned science officer. We're more human than we've ever been, Haren replied. When you left us to die, we had a choice. Stay weak and burn out like a dying star, or become strong enough to survive. Anything. The main screen changed to show the solar system around them. But it was not the system from any galactic records. Every planet had been changed. Massive structures orbited each world. Space stations bigger than moons floated in perfect lines. Energy streams connected different planets like glowing rivers. This is impossible, Dr. Yaren said. No species, can change an entire star system in just 300 years. No species except humans, said Captain Kwan. His four hands never stopped moving across his control panels. We learned to think differently, work differently, live differently. Navigator Jinha's multiple eyes focused on the alien visitors. Your species evolved on safe worlds with plenty of food and water. You never had to change or die. We did. Admiral Horan began walking around the bridge. With each step, the aliens could see more changes in her body. Her legs moved too smoothly. Her balance was too perfect. She had been rebuilt to be better than nature made her. 300 years ago, your ancestors came to Earth, she said. They saw humans fighting wars, building weapons, killing each other. They decided we were too violent to join the galaxy. The main screen showed old images, human cities burning, nuclear explosions, wars that destroyed entire countries. You weren't wrong, Haran admitted. We were violent. We were angry. We couldn't stop fighting each other long enough to reach for the stars. The images changed. Now they showed humans working together, building, creating, reaching toward space with desperate hope. But violence and anger are not weaknesses if you know how to use them, Haran continued. They are tools. Fire that can destroy, or fire that can forge steel. Captain Kwan's voice was deep and calm. Every war taught us strategy. Every fight made us stronger. Every failure showed us what not to do next time. Navigator Jinha added, while your species lived in peace, we lived in challenge. While you stayed the same, we became something new. The screen showed more of the human system. Cities that floated in space, factories built inside asteroids, ships being constructed that were larger than anything in the galactic fleet. How? Commander Vexstar finally found his voice. How did you advance so fast? Haren stopped walking and looked directly at him. Our glowing eyes seemed to see through his soul. Because we had to, she said simply. Your species developed technology slowly because you're safe. You have time. You can make mistakes and try again later. We didn't have that luxury. She pointed to the screen showing human space. Every day for 300 years, we woke up knowing we were alone. Every challenge had to be solved or we would die. Every problem had to be fixed or we would fail. So we learned to be perfect, Captain Kwan said. Perfect at building, perfect at fighting, perfect at surviving. But you're still human, Dr. Yaren asked, though his voice showed he wasn't sure. Jinha laughed, and the sound was both beautiful and terrifying. We are what humans become when they stop limiting themselves. When they stop accepting that things can't be done. Admiral Haren moved to the center of the bridge again. In her, the crew worked with mechanical precision, but their faces showed human emotions. Pride, determination, joy in their work. You came here expecting to find bones and ashes, she said. Instead you found us. Humans who learn to turn weakness into strength, fear into power, loneliness into self-reliance. The ship shuddered slightly as they moved deeper into human space. Through the windows, the aliens could see more structures. Space elevators that reached from planets to moons. Energy collectors that turned starlight into power. Ring worlds that circled gas giants. We're taking you on a tour, Haran announced. You wanted to study human civilization? We're going to show you what human civilization really looks like. And then, Vexstar asked. Haren's smile became sharp as a blade. Then you go back to the galaxy and tell them the truth. Humanity is not extinct. We are not weak. We are not the species you remember. She paused, letting her words sink into their minds like poison. We are what happens when you take the most stubborn, most adaptable, most determined species in the galaxy and leave them alone to grow strong in the dark. The tour was about to begin. The human fleet moved through space like a school of metal fish. The cosmic harmony floated in the middle, surrounded by ships that could destroy it without trying. Commander Vexstar watched through the windows as they approached something impossible. Jupiter, the giant gas planet from old Earth records. But it was not the empty ball of storms they expected. Massive rings circled the planet. Not natural rings made of ice and rock, but artificial ones built from metal and crystal. Cities floated in Jupiter's upper atmosphere like glowing jewels. Energy collectors fed on the planet's endless storms, turning raw power into something humans could use. "Beautiful, isn't it?" said Dr. Jinha, as he appeared on their communication screen. The human doctor looked young and old at the same time. His face was smooth like a 20-year-old, but his eyes held the wisdom of centuries. Parts of his body glowed softly with internal light, showing the machines that kept him alive and strong. "This is impossible," whispered Dr. Yaren. "No species can build cities inside a gas giant." Jinha smiled. "No species except humans. We don't accept impossible. We make it possible." Their ship moved closer to one of the floating cities. Through the clear walls, the aliens could see humans walking around normally. Children played in gardens that hung in the sky. Adults worked on projects that made no sense to alien minds. "How do they breathe?" asked the blue-skinned science officer. "We changed ourselves to breathe different air," Jinha explained. "Some humans live in space now. Others live underwater. Some can survive on planets with no atmosphere at all." The ship passed through a docking tube into the floating city. As they walked through corridors filled with impossible technology, Jinha continued his explanation. "When the galaxy abandoned us, we had two choices: die slowly in our home system, or learn to live anywhere in the universe." They entered a huge room with a transparent ceiling. Above them, Jupiter's storms swirled in patterns of red and gold. Below them, the room was filled with human families living normal lives in an impossible place. "We chose to live anywhere," Jinha said proudly. A group of human children ran past them. But these children were different. Some had gills on their necks for breathing underwater. Others had extra fingers for better tool use. One child's eyes glowed in the dark like a cat's. "You changed your children?" Dr. Yaren asked in horror. "We gave them the tools they need to survive," Jinha replied calmly. "Every human child can now live in space, underwater, in high radiation, in extreme cold or heat. We made sure no environment could kill us." They walked through more areas of the city. Farms that grew food without soil. Workshops where humans built machines with their bare hands. Schools where children learned to control technology with their thoughts. "This is not evolution," said Commander Vexstar. "This is something else." Jinha nodded. "Evolution is slow. We didn't have time to be slow, so we took control of our own evolution and made it fast." They entered a new section of the city. Here the humans looked even more different. Some had metal arms stronger than any machine. Others had computer interfaces built into their heads. A few seemed to be more artificial intelligence than human, but they still laughed and talked like people. "Do you know what the galaxy's biggest mistake was?" Jinha asked, as they watched these enhanced humans work together on a project that looked like a small star. "What?" Vexstar asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "You thought being human was a limitation? You saw our violence and anger and short lifespans and decided we were broken. But you never understood what those things really were." Jinha stopped walking and turned to face the alien visitors. His glowing eyes seemed to look through time itself. Violence taught us to never give up fighting. Anger gave us the fuel to overcome any obstacle. Short lifespans made us work faster and dream bigger than species who lived for thousands of years. They entered another room where human scientists worked with controlled black holes, using them as power sources. The energy was enough to light entire star systems. "Every weakness you saw in us was actually a strength waiting to be used properly," Jinha continued. "We just needed to learn how to use them." The tours continued to Mars. The red planet had been transformed into a garden world in less than 2 centuries. Green forests covered continents. Blue oceans reflected white clouds. Cities that looked like crystals grew from the ground. "Mars was a dead rock when you left us," said Captain Kwan, as they walked through a forest that should not exist. "We gave it life because we needed to learn how to create life on dead worlds." Human families walked through the forests with their children. But even here, the humans showed their changes. Some had photosynthetic skin that could make energy from sunlight. Others had enhanced lungs that could process the artificial atmosphere. "More efficiently, why?" asked Dr. Yaren. Why change your cells so much? 'Cause staying the same means staying weak, answered a new voice. They turned to see Admiral Harin approaching through the trees. Her metallic skin caught the sunlight and threw it back in rainbow patterns. Every species in the galaxy developed on one world, she explained. You learn to live in one environment, with one type of air, one type of gravity, one type of food. You became specialists. She gestured to the humans around them, all different, all adapted for different environments. We became generalists. We can live anywhere, eat anything, breathe any air. No environment can trap us. No planet can limit us. They visited Europa next, where humans had built cities under the ice of Jupiter's moon. The cities were warm and bright, powered by geothermal energy from the moon's core. Humans swam in the underground oceans alongside creatures they had created. To help them explore genetic engineering, Vexstar asked, watching a human child play with what looked like a dolphin made of living crystal. We learned to create life that serves our purposes, Harin replied. Why struggle against harsh environments when you can create helpers that thrive in them? As they traveled between worlds, Jinha showed them more human achievements. Dyson. Swarms that collected energy from their sun. Generation ships being built for voyages to other star systems. Artificial intelligences that thought faster than any organic brain, but still served human needs. The galaxy sees technology as separate from biology, Jinha explained as they watched humans working alongside their artificial creations. We learned to merge them. Our machines think, our bodies compute. Our minds connect to networks that span star systems. You're not human anymore, Dr. Yaren said quietly. Harin's laugh was like music played on metal instruments. We're more human than we ever were before. We kept everything that made humans special and added everything we needed to survive anywhere in the universe. As their tour ended, Commander Vexstar realized the truth that would terrify the galaxy. Humans had not just survived their abandonment, they had used it to become something unprecedented, something unstoppable, something that would change everything. Deep beneath the surface of Luna, Earth's moon, the alien visitors were led through tunnels that glowed with their own light. The walls were smooth as glass, but warm to the touch. Every surface hummed with energy that the aliens could not understand. Welcome to Luna City, said Admiral Harin, as they entered a vast underground chamber. The heart of human civilization. Commander Vexstar looked up and gasped. The chamber was so large, he could not see the far walls. Cities hung from the ceiling like upside-down mountains. Parks and forests grew on floating platforms. Millions of humans lived and worked in this impossible space carved from solid rock. But it was not the size that made him afraid. It was the feeling in the air. Purpose, power. The feeling of a species that had decided its own destiny. 317 years ago, said a voice behind them, humanity sent 17 different peace missions to your worlds. They turned to see an old man walking toward them. At least he looked old. His hair was white, and his face had lines, but he moved with the strength of someone much younger. His eyes glowed with soft golden light. I am Elder Quan, the man said. I was there when those missions failed. Dr. Yaren stepped forward nervously. You were there? But that was over 3 centuries ago. Humans don't live that long, Elder Quan smiled. And the smile was both kind and terrible. Humans used to die after only 80 or 90 years. We fixed that problem. He gestured for them to follow him deeper into the city. As they walked, he continued his story. 17 missions. 17 attempts to join the galactic community. We offered trade. We offered knowledge. We offered friendship. His voice stayed calm, but something cold crept into it. Every single mission was rejected. They passed through a memorial hall. The walls were covered with images and names. Thousands of them. These are the humans who died trying to make peace with the galaxy, Quan explained. Shot down as contamination risks, imprisoned as dangerous specimens, executed as evolutionary mistakes. The aliens read the names on the wall. Each one had a story. Human who had tried to build bridges between species, a scientist who had wanted to share knowledge, a diplomat who had believed in peace. All dead because the galaxy had decided humans were too dangerous to live. We remember, Quan said softly. We remember every name, every face, every species that voted to keep us locked in our own system like animals in a cage. They entered a new chamber filled with screens and displays. On each screen was information about different alien species, their weaknesses, their fears, their military capabilities, their trade routes, their political structures. Commander Vextar felt ice in his blood. "You've been watching us. 300 years, Admiral Horan confirmed as she joined them. "While you forgot we existed, we studied every species in the galaxy. We learned your languages. We mapped your worlds. We analyzed your technologies." Dr. Ginha appeared from behind a console, his enhanced eyes glowing as he accessed computer networks with his thoughts. "We know more about your civilizations than you know about yourselves." Elder Quan led them to a central platform where a three-dimensional map of the galaxy hung in the air. Red dots marked human settlements. There were hundreds of them. "Tours we gave you," Quan said with a slight smile, "was a lie." The aliens stared at the map in horror. The red dots were not just in the Sol system. They spread across dozens of star systems, connected by lines that showed faster-than-light travel routes the galaxy did not know existed. "Impossible," whispered Dr. Yaren. "Our sensors would have detected expansion like this." "Your sensors detect what we want them to detect," Jinha replied. "Ow!" "We've been moving beyond this system for over 100 years, building worlds, creating colonies, preparing. For what?" Vexter asked, though he feared the answer. "For the day we decided to return to galactic civilization," Hurin said. "The question was never if we would return. The question was how." Elder Quan touched the holographic map, and it changed. Now it showed military positions, fleet locations, strategic resources. Every weakness in galactic defenses could have returned as conquerors, Quan explained. "We have the ships. We have the weapons. We have the knowledge to defeat any force the galaxy could send against us." The map showed human fleets hidden in dark space between stars. Weapons platforms disguised as asteroids. Ships that could destroy planets without being detected. "Why didn't you?" Commander Vextar asked. Quan's golden eyes focused on him, because conquest is what weak species do. "We are not weak anymore." Admiral Haran stepped forward. "Every species in the galaxy developed under the hegemony's protection. You've lived in peace for so long, you've forgotten what it means to struggle, what it means to grow." She gestured to the humans around them. "All working with quiet efficiency on projects that could reshape stars. We didn't want to rule you, we wanted to challenge you, to remind you what you could become if you stopped accepting limits." Activated another display. This one showed genetic maps of different alien species. Every species in the galaxy has the potential for greatness, but you've grown comfortable, safe, weak. "We offer you something the hegemony never could," Elder Quan said. "The chance to evolve, to become more than what you are." The aliens watched as screens showed human colonies helping other species overcome their limitations. Planets where humans had introduced controlled challenges that forced evolution. Species that had partnered with humans and grown stronger. "Some choose to join us," Haran explained. "Yes. They learn to embrace struggle as a tool for growth. They discover strengths they never knew they had." "And those who refuse?" Vextar asked. Quan's smile became sharp. "They continue living their safe, limited lives until someone stronger comes along." The tour continued through sections of Luna City that showed human preparations, academies where young humans learned to fight wars the galaxy had forgotten how to fight, laboratories where they developed technologies that made galactic science look primitive, cultural centers where they preserved the best of human nature while discarding its weaknesses. "You want to know our secret?" Elder Quan asked as they stood on a balcony overlooking the vast city. "We learned to love the fire inside us instead of fearing it." Below them, millions of humans lived and worked and dreamed. Children played games that taught them strategy and survival. Adults collaborated on projects that would have taken other species centuries to complete. Elders like Quan shared wisdom, gained from lifetimes of overcoming impossible challenges. "Every human carries the spark of our ancient fury," Heron said, her metallic skin gleaming in the city's light. "But we tempered it with wisdom. We focused it with purpose. We made it into a tool for creation instead of destruction." The galaxy abandoned us because we were violent and unpredictable, Jinha added. We kept the violence, but made it controllable. We kept the unpredictability, but made it useful. Elder Quan raised his hand and the entire city grew quiet. Every human stopped what they were doing and looked up at the balcony. Millions of enhanced eyes focused on their leader. The quarantine ends today, Quan announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the city. Humanity returns to the galaxy. The cheers that followed shook the moon itself. But they were not cheers of conquest or revenge. They were cheers of a species finally ready to show the universe what they had become. You will take our message to the galaxy, Admiral Haran told the alien visitors. Tell them humanity is no longer the species they remember. We are what that species became when it refused to accept defeat. As alarms began sounding throughout Luna City, Commander Vexstar realized the truth. The humans had not brought them here to learn about humanity. They had brought them here to witness the moment everything changed. The moment humanity stepped out of the shadows and showed the galaxy what real evolution looked like. The cosmic harmony left human space 3 days later. Commander Vexstar and his crew had not slept well during those 3 days. Every time they closed their eyes, they saw human cities floating in gas giant storms. They saw children with glowing eyes playing in impossible places. They saw Elder Quan's golden stare and Admiral Haran's metallic smile. Most of all, they remembered the moment the humans had decided to end 3 centuries of isolation. Send the message to all hegemony worlds. Vexstar ordered as soon as they reached safe space. Emergency priority. The humans are alive. They're coming back. But the humans were faster. Before the alien ship could finish sending its warning, every communication screen in hegemony space lit up with the same message. Admiral Haran's face appeared on billions of screens across thousands of worlds. Citizens of the galaxy, she said, her voice calm and clear. I am Admiral Haran of the Terran Defense Fleet. The quarantine of humanity is hereby ended. We are reclaiming our place in the galaxy. Panic spread across civilized space like wildfire. Government. Buildings emptied as officials fled to bunkers. Military fleets scrambled to defensive positions. Trade routes shut down as merchant ships raced for home ports. Within hours, human vessels appeared in systems across known space, but they did not attack. The ships were beautiful and terrible at the same time. They moved through space with grace. That made the finest alien vessels look clumsy. Their hulls were dark as night but seemed to glow from within. Energy patterns flowed across their surfaces like living things. On Kepler Prime, home world of the Keltron Empire, a single human ship appeared in orbit. It was smaller than the planet's defense stations, but somehow more frightening. The ship's captain sent a simple message to the planetary government. We wish to establish an embassy. Come in peace, but we will not be ignored again. It's the same. Scene played out on world after world. Human ships appeared. Human voices spoke in perfect local languages. Human ambassadors requested meetings with leaders who had spent their lives believing humans were extinct. Some worlds tried to fight. The war was over in 6 hours. The Zephyrian battle fleet was the pride of the galaxy. 50 ships with weapons that could crack moons. They moved to intercept a single human vessel near their border. The human ship, called the Rising Phoenix, did not fire a single shot. Instead, it released something the Zephyrians had never seen before, a wave of energy that passed through their ships like they were made of paper. When the energy wave touched the alien ships, their weapons stopped working. Their engines shut down. Their life support systems failed. 50 of the galaxy's most advanced warships became floating metal. Coffins in minutes. Then the human ship sent a message to the helpless alien crews. Your ships are intact. Are safe. We have disabled your weapons and engines, but we will restore your life support and return you to your home world. This is not conquest. This is education. True to their word, the humans towed the Zephyrian fleet home and released them unharmed. But the message was clear. Human technology was beyond anything the galaxy possessed. Fighting them was not just futile, it was pointless. Word of the Zephyrian defeat spread across the galaxy in days. Other species that had planned to resist decided to negotiate instead. Dr. Jinha became humanity's chief diplomat. He traveled from world to world, meeting with alien leaders who trembled in his presence. But instead of threats, he brought offers. "We don't want to rule you," he explained to the Hegemony Council on their capital world. "We want to offer you something your peaceful civilization has forgotten, the chance to grow." The alien leaders sat in their crystal chambers surrounded by luxury their ancestors had built, were old and comfortable and afraid of anything that might disturb their perfect peace. "What do you want from us?" asked Chancellor Verne. A tall alien with silver skin and large black eyes. Jinha's enhanced eyes glowed as he accessed data networks with his thoughts. Around the chamber, holographic displays showed the decline of galactic civilization, populations that no longer grew, technologies that no longer advanced, species that had stopped dreaming of anything beyond their current existence. "Look at what you've become," Jinha said gently. 1,000 species living in perfect safety and perfect stagnation. You've forgotten what it means to strive. Displays changed to show human achievements, cities built in impossible places, children learning to master challenges their parents could never face, adults working on projects that would take generations to complete. "We offer partnership," Jinha continued. "Joint colonies where your people can learn to face controlled challenges, research projects that will push the boundaries of what's possible, the chance to become more than you are." Some species accepted. The Alteri, who had grown bored with their perfect paradise worlds, sent volunteers to human training colonies. There they learned to build cities on hostile worlds, to survive in environments that would have killed their ancestors, to think in ways they had never imagined. The first Alteri to complete human training returned home changed. They were stronger, smarter, more alive than any of their species had been in centuries. Their success inspired others. Within a year, dozens of species had established exchange programs with humanity. Alien children learned alongside human children in schools that taught impossible things. Adult aliens worked with humans on projects that reshaped solar systems. But not everyone accepted the new reality. The Core Worlds Alliance tried to organize resistance. They built new weapons designed to fight human technology. They formed secret alliances to coordinate attacks on human colonies. The resistance lasted exactly 1 day. Human fleets appeared over every core world simultaneously. But instead of attacking, they simply waited. Their presence was message enough. "Know about your weapons," Admiral Haran's voice echoed across the core worlds. "We know about your plans. We know about your fears. But we also know something you've forgotten." The human fleets began demonstrating their capabilities. Ships that could become invisible. Weapons that could disable entire planets without harming a single life. Technologies that could turn asteroids into gardens or suns into power sources. "We know how to turn enemies into allies," Haran continued. "How to transform fear into respect. How to make weakness into strength." The core worlds surrendered within hours. 5 years after humanity's return, the galaxy was a different place. Human colonies dotted every region of space. Human teachers worked in alien schools. Human engineers helped other species build impossible things. But the biggest change was not in technology or territory. It was in the spirit of galactic civilization itself. Species that had been stagnant for millennia began to dream again. They started new projects, explored new ideas, reached for goals their ancestors would have thought impossible. The human example was infectious. Commander Vextar, an ambassador between his people and humanity, stood on the observation deck of a joint research station orbiting a neutron star. Aliens and humans worked together on a project to harness the star's energy, something that would have been impossible for either species alone. "What did we create when we abandoned you?" he asked Elder Quan, who had become something of a friend during the transition years. Quan's ageless face showed the same warm, dangerous smile that all humans seemed to carry. "You created exactly what the galaxy needed," he replied. "A species that remembered how to burn." Around them, the station hummed with activity. Human children played with alien children in games that taught them to think in ways no single species could achieve. Adult humans and aliens collaborated on research that pushed the boundaries of physics itself. "We are not conquerors," Quan said as they watched the busy station. "We are teachers. Show the galaxy what it means to refuse limitations." Through the observation windows, they could see ships from dozens of species working together. Each crew had at least one human aboard, not as a commander, but as a reminder. A reminder that growth required challenge. That strength came from struggle. The fire inside thinking beings was meant to forge greatness, not destroy it. "Species the galaxy abandoned has become the species the galaxy needed," Vexstar said quietly. Quan nodded, his golden eyes reflecting the light of the neutron star they were studying. "We came back not for revenge, but for redemption. Not to rule, but to remind everyone what it truly means to be alive in a universe full of infinite possibilities." As Vexstar watched humans and aliens working together to achieve the impossible, he realized the greatest truth of all. Humanity had not just survived their abandonment and returned stronger. They had transformed the galaxy's greatest mistake into its greatest gift. The fire that burned in human hearts now burned in every species, brave enough to embrace the flame,